Welcome to Acton in Focus. I'm Vivian Birchall, your host, and this is a special edition in honor of our veterans. And with me is a special guest, James MacRae, who is the Veteran Service Officer for the towns of Acton and Boxborough. Welcome, James.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Veterans Day, what is this day and what is its history?
So yeah, Veterans Day, at least here in Acton and most towns nationwide, we usually gather in our respective communities across the nation on November 11th at 11 a.m. Is the standard time for this type of ceremony. And the reasoning behind that is because of the history, the origins of it, originally known as Armistice Day, the signing of the treaties, the armistice at the end of World War I. Believe it was known as the war to end all wars. And then at some point along the lines, it changed to Veterans Day, just a day to honor and recognize the veterans, past and present, in our military history.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned 11 a.m. because that was a question I had for you. What is the significance of that 11 a.m.? Because there is also a moment of silence.
Exactly, and it goes back to the signing of the treaty, the armistice at the end of World War I. It was signed at 11 a.m., I believe. And I think that's why that stands to be that time going forward.
Right. And you serve two towns, Acton and Boxborough.
Correct.
What is the average number of veterans that live in our towns?
You know, that's a great question. I don't have an exact number. They estimate the average population of any given community in Massachusetts to be roughly around 3 or 4% of the community might be veteran-based or veteran residents. I do a veteran census for both towns every 2 to 3 years that accompanies the annual town census. And based on the responses I get, I've compiled some demographics and of that created a mailing list, which I do a mailing leading up to Veterans Day, Memorial Day every year. So if we go by the mailing list that I've compiled over the years, I'd say between both communities we get roughly 750 to 800 veteran households.
That's a significant number of veteran households.
It's a fair amount.
Not even a number of people, but households, right?
A number of mailing addresses, yeah.
Wow, okay. And this year, speaking of veterans, do you have anything special in addition to the Veterans Day ceremony lined up in honor of Veterans Day?
Yes, so this year, like many things that were not in person for the last couple of years, it'll be the 10th annual Veterans Day breakfast, a collaboration between the Acton Boxborough High School Honor Society and the Acton Boxborough Rotary Club. We'll be putting on the breakfast in person again since the start of COVID at the Acton Boxborough High School. So really looking forward to that. The veterans seem to love that. I run into them months after and they're still talking about the breakfast, so we're really glad we're able to do that. That's going to be the morning of Veterans Day, I believe at 8:30 in the morning. I'm sure we're going to push up some information in front of my face right now to contact information for the people you want to reach out to if you want to attend that breakfast.
And so does it mean it's open to the public?
It's open to veterans.
There we go.
Yes. So, yeah.
Okay. So, what have been the trends in your observation for veterans or Veterans Day over the years?
The trends, like many holidays, we have a very storied military history. Essentially, it's our military that's shaped, defined what our country is today. You think about Revolutionary War, Civil War, throughout all future wars after that, defining moments that without our veterans past and present, I don't know what our country would look like.
Right.
So having said that, it's really a day to continue to honor and pay respect and reverence to the veterans and that chunk of their lives, years that they served our country.
It's a segue into one of the more non-conventional questions regarding veterans. What is the most ideal gift someone can give a veteran?
The most ideal gift? Wow, that's a great question. I could think of a number of things. I guess it depends on the individual, but I'd say overall, veterans at large, they don't want to be put up on a pedestal. But at the same time, if you know a veteran, obviously I think just a simple thank you for your service can go a long way.
All right. Well, that's great to know. I've always wanted to ask, and I got the opportunity today. So is there any other word you have for our viewers regarding Veterans Day or this Veterans? Oh, actually, before we even go there, what are any new services that you're offering for veterans?
So, in a nutshell, real quick, my duty is to assist veterans and surviving spouses with state and federal veterans benefits. I assist with a number of state veterans benefits as well as assistance navigating the federal side of benefits, VA healthcare, VA disability claims, VA pensions, as well as other benefits that a veteran or surviving spouse may be eligible for based on their situation and service. Having said that, there has been recent legislation that has passed back in August called the PACT Act. That's P-A-C-T Act. And this is a huge piece of legislation that really benefits veterans from Desert Storm through recent wars in the Middle East, Iraq, Afghanistan. They have basically passed into law recognizing a number of respiratory ailments as well as a number of cancers as presumptive conditions to exposure to airborne hazards, toxic burn pit exposure, and things of that nature. Again, from people who served in Desert Storm in the 90s through the more recent wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and other locations as well. And basically, essentially, I'd recommend anyone to look up these benefits. Anyone that's watching this that is a veteran that receives my veterans mailings, you will be receiving one leading up to Veterans Day that will elaborate on all the different presumptive conditions from exposure to these burn pits. Essentially, if you have diagnosis of one of these ailments and proof of service in one of these times of war, one of these locations, it's really as easy as that, and I highly recommend that you reach out to me and we put in a service-connected disability claim for those ailments.
James, is there anything else you'd want to tell our viewers about Veterans Day before we close this small?
Yes, absolutely. So Veterans Day in Acton, again, it's 11 a.m. on the Common in Town Hall, across from Town Hall off of Main Street. Parking's available behind the fire station as well as behind Town Hall, and all are encouraged to attend. It's really a nice ceremony, and again, it's a way to pay your respects to veterans past and present.
Well, James, first of all, thanks for your service.
Appreciate the support. Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for being here. Absolutely. It's always a joy, and I look forward to hosting you again.
Thanks.
And to our viewers, thank you for watching. Happy Veterans Day. Till next time.